What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today we have College Pick'Ems Week 1, and unfortunately to technical difficulties, the video is a little bit late. We do talk about Florida, Utah, and that game just happened yesterday, but this recording was filmed on Tuesday, so it was before the games, and just due to technical difficulties, the first part of the video, I won't be in it. But we'll have my college football expert, Rhett. He'll be talking about the first few games. And then after his breakdown, I'll include my short breakdown of who I think is going to win and my little analysis. But unfortunately, we did record together, but something happened with my recording that we were unable to put it on there, and it was just a lot of trouble. But we did fix this. We're gonna make it work, and then next week should be better. So let's get right to it. Let's get right back to Rhett.
Well, first off, let me just say, my brother is an alum of UCF. So when he watches this video, he's gonna be really mad at you because Mikey Keene is the quarterback at Fresno State now. He transferred from UCF. Now, he didn't play any games. He sat behind Dylan Gabriel, and then he sat behind John Rice Plumlee last year. So he doesn't have a lot of in-game experience. But from what I've seen, he's not a mobile quarterback. He's more of a sniper. He's a precision passer. He's got decent completion percentage. So don't count him out. This is his first true season starting. Now, I agree with you. Purdue is going to be the better team. They have Hudson Card as their QB, transferred from Texas. I believe he was a 5-star in college, or in high school. This is his second season, potentially, in college. He did not play any games except for the 4 last year that, mullet guy, Texas quarterback. I forgot his name already, I'm blanking. But when the starting quarterback last year, when he got injured, Hudson Card came in. But, yeah, I'm with you. Purdue's going to win this game. They have a Big Ten offensive line that's going to bully a group of 5 defensive line. The only thing with Purdue is their defense is it's not as good. We'll see. Their defense was pretty solid last year. They lost a lot of players, but they have a lot of talented transfers coming in. So who knows what's going to happen. They still have Cam Allen and Kydron Jenkins. Those are their defensive veterans. They're seniors this year. So they're going to want to show out. I got Purdue winning big on their roster. In terms of on paper, high school recruits, highly talented 4- and 5-star players. That's what Deion Sanders brings. He brings notoriety. He brings a lot of money in NIL. So a lot of the top recruits, a lot of Power 5 transfers, say from Alabama, top SEC schools, Texas A&M, Miami. He has a big connection with South Florida. A lot of those players came from those schools to Colorado once Deion Sanders was named the coach. Thing is, I think they need a couple years. All the players are new. I don't think they have any players from last year except maybe a couple from the O-line. And the O-line sucked last year. So this team's going to need a lot of work. They have a lot of raw talent. I think they're, dare I say, talented, more talented than TCU. But they're going to need a year or two to really put things together. Now, with TCU, last year, Chandler Morris, who's the starting quarterback now, he was named the starter last year. He got hurt. Max Duggan came in and took off from there. So Chandler Morris is probably a better QB than Max Duggan was. He's just young. He doesn't have a lot of experience. Now, TCU lost a lot of players, but they also gained a lot of Power 5 players as well. Most notably, I'd say Trey Sanders, the running back from Ohio State. He's in now. And then you have an O-line who only lost 2 players. And they substituted them with an Alabama star who came in now and a player from Jackson State who might have a little bit of edge to him this game because his coach left him and he transferred out as well. So I've got TCU. Their defensive core is actually still there. They have Johnny Hodges and they have Jamoy Hodge. Those 2 players, along with the other Hodges Tomlinson, those were the 3 leaders of TCU's defense last year. They have 2 out of 3 still there. So given all that talent, it's going to be a very fun matchup. I think Colorado is going to be really good towards the end of the year. They're going to surprise people. But for now, I got TCU edging it. And I picked North Texas to be the winner. I got North Texas edging this game. They're a group of 5 team that is very good. Now, are they as good as last year? We're going to find out. Their passing game's not going to be as good. They lost 2 receivers to Power 5 teams. They lost Shorter and Gums. Those 2 players are gone. They have a veteran group of 5 quarterback from Louisiana Monroe, I think is the team. They lost him. So he's coming in from Monroe to North Texas. His name is Chandler Rogers. I don't know much about him. I just know he's a senior. He's played at Monroe for his whole entire college career. So it's tough. Cal is not that good. They have an unproven quarterback coming in from TCU. Their wide receiver core is not bad. It's what you would expect from a Pac-12 team. Pac-12 is a derivative of Big 12. They love passing. They love passing the rock around. We'll see. I have this being an upset. Backs back this year. The top 2 that they had, they're back. I don't know how much that's going to matter, but because they were a throwing team last year. But, hey, you got some veterans somewhere. It's game 1. Who knows in week 1, but I'm going to go with the upset here. There's always a group of 5 upset for a Power 5 school. Cal, they're just my sacrificial lamb. I'm mainly hoping that their defense steps up. They didn't lose many on their defense. They lost Larry Nixon to Auburn. I meant to put what position he played, but they lost him. He was a notable player last year. And, you know, with these group of 5 schools, a lot of them are feeder programs to Power 5. When you have a star player, they're most likely going to go Power 5, especially in the era that we're in with NIL. But defense should be fine. I'm trusting the culture. I'm trusting the culture of North Texas. They've been a winning program for some time now, since 2019. So they're not bad. Cal is just historically not great. So I'm going to go with the trendy pick here. College Football Nation, it's a website where I did my research. Their top player for Houston, top key player, was a place kicker. That should tell you all that you need to know about Houston right now. They're in sort of a weird state. They're coming from the American Conference, going to the Big 12. Huge step up in competition. They played UTSA last year, and I believe they beat them last year. Gotta check me on that. But I believe Houston beat UTSA last year. But this Houston team seems to be pretty unorganized. They got Dana Holgorsen still, I believe, as their coach. He's proven. He's been very good at West Virginia. He's been at Houston for the last 3 years, I want to say. I think his first year was the pandemic year. He's a good coach. They brought in Donovan Smith from Texas Tech. He was the QB. That's pretty much all you can say about Houston at this point. I don't have high expectations for them. I think they're going to be very unorganized this year, especially with the step up in competition. UTSA, 2 words. Frank Harris. The QB coming back for his 5th, maybe 6th year. I don't know. This guy, I feel like he's been in college football for a long, long time. And he's been good for a long time. Last year, he was elite. This year, I expect the same. They have most of their wide receiver core back. I think they lost one person to Power 5. I can't think of his name, but he went to Ole Miss. I know that. Barnes, their top running back last year, he's back. They're returning all of their D linemen, and they had a stacked defense last year. Now, they blew it for me in the bowl game against Troy. We're not going to talk about that. It's all good. But their defense did let them down there. They are returning only one guy in the secondary. So that's 4 positions. 4 positions total. They're only bringing back 1 DB. That's concerning with Houston because they're an air raid offense. That's all I would say is the problem with UTSA pick. Is if Donovan Smith is as good as advertised, which he's decent. I mean, he's a Power 5 quarterback. He's dual threat. He's going to do his thing. That's the only hiccup I've got with UTSA is whether or not they're going to contain the pass. But with that being said, I got UTSA big. I think 3 touchdowns. It's gonna be It's going to be convincing. I think it's going to be convincing. So I'm an FSU fan. I grew up in the latter half of Bobby Bowden's reign at FSU. And so I have a special place in my heart for the Bowden family. Terry Bowden is not Bobby Bowden. Not even close. UL Monroe lost so many players. You know, University of Florida, the Gators, how they lost a shit ton of players to the transfer portal? That's what happened to UL Monroe. Like I said, their quarterback left and went to, where did I say he went to? North Texas. So they lost their quarterback. Their defense sucks. That's literally what I have in my notes right here. It just says defense sucks, period. That's all you have to say. Army, the only thing with Army, and this is sketchy, they don't have a QB. They do not have a reliable QB. And that's fine because they don't have a pass game, but they have the triple offense scheme, which means the QB runs the ball a lot. If they don't have a reliable QB, it makes me think they're going to use a running back as the QB, which is going to get rid of it's going to make their offense very transparent. There's going to be they're going to have to do a lot of tricks to potentially pass the ball. I will not be tuning into this game. It will not be on my radar at all. I don't even know when they play. I think they play at noon, but I will not be keeping track of this game. I will say Army's defense was top 5 last year in points per game allowed. Now, I don't know who they played last year, if I'm being honest, but they're independents, so they play whoever wants to play them, essentially. That's how the independents work. I think Army's going to win very convincingly. I don't think it's going to be close, but it's probably going to be the quickest game. It's probably going to be the shortest game in duration of all of these. It's a fun matchup. 2 electrifying quarterbacks. As much as people shit on Spencer Rattler, he's a good quarterback. He was a 5-star for a reason. He got unlucky. At Oklahoma. He sat behind, I want to say, Kyler Murray and then Jalen Hurts. And then after that, he dipped on out of there because Caleb Williams took his spot. So he's been unlucky with the QBs ahead of him. Was it Dylan Gabriel? I think he transferred. I think he's been in South Carolina for 2 years now. That would have been Caleb Williams. But I really like this matchup. Both defenses are not great, if we're being honest. I would give the edge to South Carolina having a better defense because they are SEC, like you said. But I think North Carolina needs to go back to their running roots. They have most of their wide receivers. I think they lost 2 wide receivers last year. I mean, they lost, obviously, what's the guy? Downs. Josh Downs for sure to the draft. But their pass game's not going to be bad because Drake May's back there. Their running game, they kept their running backs. They need to rely on the running backs this year. Their running game needs to step it up. They need to go back to the Michael Carter days, where they had a good, consistent 100-yard rusher, and then the play-action passes with Mitch Trubisky, Sam Howell. That's what they need. And I'm hoping, because I picked North Carolina, that they run the rock and they play consistent defense. They get to the quarterback. South Carolina's main Achilles heel last year was their O-line. North Carolina's D-line is an ACC D-line, and ACC defensive lines know how to get to the quarterback. So I'm expecting North Carolina to get to the quarterback more. Spencer Rattler makes mistakes when he's pressured, just like any other quarterback in college. When you're pressured, you make mistakes. Spencer Rattler makes a lot more mistakes than other quarterbacks. He's very good, but he's prone to be making mistakes. I got North Carolina. I think their defense is going to do enough. It's going to be a high-scoring match, probably 36-29, something like that. It's going to be a fun matchup, though. I can't wait.
All right, so my picks don't differ much from Rhett's. He pretty much hit the head right on the nail. For Purdue-Fresno, I had Purdue, mostly because they both lost their NFL starting quarterbacks. Fresno lost Jack Hayner. Purdue lost Aiden O'Connell. and I feel like Jack Hayner was had a big impact on the Fresno State success. And without him, I think they're going to struggle to keep up the success they had from last year. With that said, I'm just going to go with the Big Ten team. Purdue. Not much to break down here. I'm just going to stick with Purdue. Next one, we got TCU in Colorado. With Colorado, they brought in a load of talent just because they have Deion Sanders. Prime time. That's what happens when you get prime time. You get good players. Now, with that said, I think they're going to take a little time. TCU's coming out of a national championship game where they got brutally destroyed, but still they made it to the game. TCU do still have some pieces from last year, so they won't be terrible, but they won't be as good as last year. For that reason, I'm sticking with TCU. Next game, we got California Cal and North Texas. So this one's kind of hard for me. This is where I'm different from Rhett. He said North Texas. I'm going to take Cal. Just because I think Cal is going to be much better than they were last year. I think North Texas might take a step down. There's not really much to break down. I'm not until we see week one. There's not much to break down. So I'm just gonna go with Cal over North Texas. Next one, we got UTSA and Houston Cougars. For this one, I'm gonna roll with UTSA, just because they were good last year and because Houston were pretty bad last year. Like Rhett mentioned earlier, the best ranked player was a place kicker, so that's say a lot. But even Houston did beat UTSA last year, but that was week one, and week one can be weird. So who knows what's gonna happen week one? These teams won't finish the season like they started it, so we'll see. I'm gonna stick with UTSA. I feel like this will be a good program. Next one, we got Army and UL Monroe. We're gonna go with Army. Got some whack games on the ESPN list, but we're gonna go with Army because when has UL Monroe been any good? So it's mostly fading UL Monroe than picking Army. So I'm sticking with Army. And then game of the week, man, South Carolina versus North Carolina. Battle of the star quarterbacks. You got Spencer Rattler in South Carolina and Drake May in North Carolina. So for this one, I'm also going to differ with Rhett. I'm going to take South Carolina. I'm taking the SEC team over the ACC team just because, you got Spencer Rattler. SEC played good defense. Who knows about the ACC defense in North Carolina? Issue they had last year was providing enough weapons for Drake May. He had to carry the team. He had to put him on his back. I just think South Carolina has the more better balanced overall roster. So I'm going to go with South Carolina. I'm sticking with the SEC team over the ACC team. With that said, the rest of the video were pretty good. So we're going to go back to the recording, and it's going to be me and Rhett just talking about the rest of the games. We added some extra games on there, some better matchups. Who we got? LSU, FSU. Can't believe that wasn't on the College Picke'Ems on ESPN. Who else? We got Clemson, Duke, Boise State, Washington, and then we got Florida, Utah. So stay tuned for that breakdown. All right. Next game, we got Illinois and Toledo. Now, another interesting matchup. I don't know why they have this on here. The obvious pick would be Illinois, I feel like. No disrespect to Toledo, but I'm going to go with Illinois mainly because Kirk Herbstreit picked him as the dark horse for the Big Ten. And for that reason, I'm going to go with Illinois. What about you, Rhett?
Love it. Love that you're a Herbie stan. It's incredible. Just one small thing about Toledo. They have their QB, star QB, and running back this year. Their defense was number 1 last year in the MAC. That's the MAC, group of 5, not the best group of 5 league either. And their D-line took a pretty big hit. But on to the obvious winner, in your words, Illinois. They got Luke Altmaier transferring in from Ole Miss. He's a solid prospect. This is basically a rookie year for him. He sat behind Matt Corral and Jackson Dart at Ole Miss. 4 of their top 5 wide receivers are back. they're not known for their pass game, but I think they're going to be known this year. Their passing attacks going to be really good with Allmeyer. Their offensive line is classic Big Ten offensive line. Big ass men up there. They're gonna dominate Toledo's D line. And then last thing I'd say about Illinois, their defense wasn't bad last year, but they're better this year. So I think Illinois is gonna run through.
I have to agree. I like it. Good pick. Good pick. All right, moving on to the next game. We got West Virginia versus Penn State. Another interesting matchup where I think Penn State is going to run all over West Virginia. Penn State always seems to have talent on that team, coached by James Franklin, right? He's a solid coach.
Yes, sir.
It seems like he struggles with the big games, but with a team like West Virginia, they won't be anything too troubling this year. They won't make too much noise. They always have. It seems like they always have a good running back, and they'll definitely be able to rebuild. And ESPN definitely looks at them highly as they're ranked number 7 for the first week. So for all those reasons, I'm going Penn State. I feel like it's another obvious pick. I can't see a way where West Virginia can take this one. What do you think?
Well, I think some college football pundits are losing their minds because they have West Virginia as a dark horse this year. And I'm going to tell you why that's not the case. The only thing they have going for them is their O-line is above average for the Big 12 and their running back. That's it. C.J. Donaldson's phenomenal. He's going to have to be a workhorse. He's going to have to be a Saquon Barkley of West Virginia. Their wide receivers are completely gutted. Their quarterback is gutted. They're going to have to go with, I think, redshirt freshman or a senior who has not played anything. I would probably go with the freshman because what do you have to lose? That's why I would say these pundits who are claiming West Virginia is a dark horse or an upset threat, slow your roll. I don't think it's happening this year. I could be wrong and look like an idiot, but I don't think so. Penn State is going to win this game. They've got the QB in, I forgot his name, but this is his first year at the throne. Really good prospect out of high school. He's going to be ready. They got Singleton, Caton Allen, and Trey Potts, all running backs. They're going to be a running back committee this year.
Yes.
Their wide receiver core took a hit this past year, but Big Ten, they're probably not going to rely on their pass game too much this year. Defense is phenomenal. They bring back a lot of young players. One of their studs, he's a defensive lineman, defensive end type, Micah Parsons type player. Really good. Keep an eye on him. I think he's number 11 as well.
Interesting take.
Penn State
by those
rolls to West
experts you
Virginia.
found. No idea why they would take West Virginia as the dark horse of all teams. But
I wouldn't say experts. It was more college football.
Okay, that makes more
Instagram pages
sense.
That are on my Explore page.
But no.
I'm giving them more credit
I definitely
by
agree.
calling them
Penn State,
pundits, right?
they always seem to have a good defense, so I definitely agree with you.
But
All right. Moving on. Got South Alabama versus Tulane. Now, I think this is going to be a more interesting game than most people think because the odds doesn't show it that way. They have South Alabama as a plus 213 dog, which I found interesting as they had a really good season last year, and I think they'll be able to repeat it this year. Where Tulane, they lost a bunch of their talent to the draft, but they are still ranked, so ESPN still looks at them highly. So this one I was kind of conflicted. Now I know I told you Tulane, but now I'm feeling more South Alabama. To be honest with you, I think I might go South Alabama with the upset here, as I think they'll continue to bounce off what they did last year and maybe even play better. So for that reason, I'm going to trust the new culture they have going on there. I'm going to go with South Alabama, the upset here. What do you think? Reasonable pick?
Damn, I was really gonna shit. I was really gonna shit on your Tulane pick. I was really going to do it. I'm glad you changed because I'll just lay out
Tajay
what's wrong with
Spears,
Tulane.
yeah.
First off, they lost their running back, Tajay Spears. He had 1,800 yards last year. If they need a running back to even get half his production, I don't think that's going to happen. 800 yards from a running back we've never seen before, it's going to be a little bit of a stretch. We'll see. They lost 5 out of their 7 top wide receivers last year. You can't even play 7 wide receivers on the field at one time. So they lost 5 of their 7. So the top 2, or whatever the 2 are, I don't know who they are.
Yeah.
If it's the top 2, bottom 2, mid 2, whatever. They only have 2 of them back. Their offense is going to take a hit this year. Their defense was competent last year. They need to be better. We saw against USC, they held them.
Yeah.
Held them to 45 points? But their defense is going to be fine for American football. But if they want to make it to a New Year's Six bowl, they got to get through South Alabama because I have them as my pick for New Year's Six potential team. South Alabama has 19 starters back. There's 22 starters on a team. That's incredible. I have not seen a team retain this many good players in a long time. Their D-line's stacked. The only problem I have is their secondary, which we saw in their bowl game last year against Western Kentucky get lit up. As long as their secondary improves, this team, South Alabama, is going to be formidable.
I definitely saw this matchup as a 50-50, so I was surprised when I saw the odds. But when you're a team like Tulane and you lose all that talent, I figured it would be difficult to kind of refuel after that. So, but last year they definitely had a good run. What an upset that was for them to be USC. Definitely helped me with my Bowl Mania pick. So there's that.
Very good.
Yes, sir. All right, moving on.
Nice payday there.
We got Northwestern and Rutgers. Now, I'm surprised to see majority of the people here are picking Northwestern to upset Rutgers, but that's not the case for me. I'm going with Rutgers mostly because of it seems like Northwestern's having a lot of dysfunction right now, a lot of issues. They just fired the coach, and they just have to kind of like regroup last second. So, and Rutgers didn't have a bad season last year. They were pretty good. So I think they didn't lose too much talent. I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but for that reason, they also played the Big Ten. So does Northwestern, but they're just a mess right now. So, and the funny thing about Northwestern, they only won 1 game last year, which was their first game, which was in Ireland. And I don't think they have any Ireland game this year, so I'm gonna go with Rutgers.
Incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible take. They need to go to Ireland ASAP.
Something in the pub.
Because they got a 100% win percentage.
There's something in the pub.
There's something in the air. There's something in the air. There's something in the pub. I don't know. But Northwestern needs to go to Ireland more often. Too bad it's not happening this year. My favorite ESPN personality is Mike Greenberg. He is a Northwestern alum. That's the only reason I like Northwestern. Their O-line was gutted this last year.
Yep.
And it started with Skoronsky, I think his name was. He was gone. He was the leader. They lost, I think, 3 offensive linemen to an already not great offensive line. They have 3 quarterbacks fighting for startership. They have not named a starter. It's 3 days until they start their games. They have not named a starting quarterback. That's not good. New defensive coordinator because, like you said, they only won 1 game. And their defense is not that great, obviously. They have 3 good players back. Gallagher, Story, McLaughlin. D linemen and linebackers. That's it. Rutgers, on the other hand, they returned their running back, who was very good, had high productivity last year. And the O-line that he ran behind is all returning this year. Rutgers is going to be very run-heavy as they do not have a definitive starting QB either. This game probably going to be very run-heavy. Yeah. I would take the under, and whatever the point spread is, take the under. I got Rutgers. Look out for Muhammad Toure as a standout defensive player this year. He tore his ACL last year. He's back.
With all that said,
I'm
still surprised that most people here are picking Northwestern to upset Rutgers. What a situation here. All right, with all that said, that's all the games for the college pick'ems. Now,
Your audio
can
issues
you hear me?
back.
Can you hear me? All right, so those are all. That's it for all the college pick'ems on the ESPN game. Now we're gonna move on to some supplemental games where me and Rhett found more interesting and some more competitive matchups where we're gonna pick those and we're gonna count it to our record as well. First of those games is the Thursday night game, Gators and Utah. So Gators, man, they struggled last year. They definitely had to be carried by an inconsistent Anthony Richardson, and now they're gonna rely on Graham Mertz to carry this team, which doesn't seem like a good idea, but we'll see how that goes. Whereas Utah, they still have Cam Risner. The defense is still solid, and I'm definitely leaning Utah. But the thing that's holding me back is Cam Risner. We're unsure if he's going to play in this game or not. But even if he doesn't, I'm still going to stick with Utah, just because the Gators, they got to figure some things out, and I got to watch them the first couple weeks to gain more confidence in them. Utah is definitely the better team here, better defense, better leader in Cam Risner, but we'll see if he's able to play. So that's my pick. I'm going with Utah.
Okay.
Yes.
I know that must hurt for you to say, being
We're
a
a mess
Gator
this
fan.
year, man.
You Gator fans are, yeah, I mean, I'm an FSU fan. I got no blood ties to them, but I just like FSU. And Florida fans, that must have been tough.
I mean, we
to
lost to
admit that
freaking
your
Oregon
team is
State
going to
in the
lose.
bowl game. How are we going
I
to beat
agree.
Utah? They are good.
Oregon State's good, man. All right, and plus you had your practice squad playing in that bowl game. But I will say Cam Rising
So he's
is
playing?
listed as the starter.
Is that
as
the
of
news
2
going
days
on?
ago.
Yeah. All right.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
As of 2 days ago, Cam Rising is listed to be the starter. I don't think that matters really.
Okay.
This is gonna be a hot take, but this game is gonna be a running game. Florida has their
Trevor
2 running
Etienne.
backs back, Montrell Johnson and Trevor Etienne. They're back. They're going to carry the load. Graham Mertz is a competent QB. I will not take Graham Mertz slander. Okay? He's the Kirk Cousins of the college football
I got to see it first.
landscape. He's fine. He needs to clean up his interceptions. He needs to clean up his interceptions, but he's a veteran.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to be fine. They're going to rely on the run game anyways, Florida. Florida lost half of their starting roster to the draft or transfer portal. Not good. Utah, they have Micah Pittman, Devon, Vele. Their defensive line is decent. They should be able to attack Graham Mertz. I think this is an easy Utah win, especially because it's in Utah at altitude. Florida, Gainesville's better than Miami in terms of sea level, but it's nothing compared to Utah. I think Utah is gonna have the stamina, even
Okay.
if it is a close game in the fourth quarter. Utah will
I
edge
agree.
them.
They're a team to look out for this year.
Utah Utes, baby.
Speaking of which, another team to look out for, we got Washington and Boise State as the next game. Boise State kind of disappointed last year. That quarterback they had, he was hyped up. He left. He underperformed. But even with that, they were a good program for the last few years, but I don't think it'll be the case this year. And with Washington, they have one of the best college quarterbacks in Penix, and he's definitely going to show out. They are probably one of the better defenses in the Pac-12. And just for Penix alone, I got them winning this game. They'll definitely show out this year. They'll be a good team. This is another team to look out for.
I agree. I will say, Washington, their offense, they retained most of their offense from last year. They lost three key O linemen. That's the only hit they took on the offense. They've got Penix, they have their wide receivers, they have their running back. They're going to have a very good offense. Their defense, the only thing lacking is the secondary, which is going to be an issue for Pac-12. It's not going to be an issue against Boise State. Their QB is a question mark. Hank Bachmeier was solid. And
yeah.
Where's
That's
he at
who I was
now?
thinking of.
He's at another Group of 5 school.
Too. Let me look that up while you continue there.
I want to say it's San Diego State, but I could be wrong. But the Boise State's running game is going to be the focal point. I think that's a theme with this Picke'Ems roster that we got. Teams are retaining most of their running backs and not their QBs. George Holani, Ashton Jeanty, they're going to be fine. They're going to have to carry the load. Boise State, they've been good for a decade or two, not just a couple of years.
Program.
I will say that. Boise State, this is going to be their first rough year. I think them and Fresno State, they're rebuilding. I don't know who's going to win the Mountain West. It's going to be very interesting. But Boise State lost a bit of their defense. Their linebackers are the only ones they kept. They kept all 3 linebackers this year. That's not going to matter against Washington. Washington's going to throw the rock. They're going to run right up the middle. Even though their offensive line is a little sketchy this year, they're going to write down Boise State's throat. They're going to play action. They're going to have a good spread offense. Washington is, in my eyes, a playoff team. So I'm gonna hope Washington wins this game convincingly.
I think they will win convincingly. They have the spread as minus 14.5, so that means they think Washington's going to win by 15 points or more. So with that, moving on to the next game, I think this might be the game of the week. Got LSU Tigers versus FSU. What a game this is. 2 top 10 teams. LSU, they still have Jaden McDaniels, and they're going to be a dangerous team this year. Whereas FSU, they retained a lot of their players.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of their players could have gone to the draft last year, but decided to stay, as they think they have a really good shot at winning the Natty this year. They had Verse. Verse came back. He would have been a first-round edge in this year's draft, but decided to come back. They had the killer in Jordan Travis. He's gonna kill it, as much as it pains me to say as the Gators fan. But with this, I'm actually leaning towards FSU. I think they're gonna be a dangerous team. I know they're from the ACC, but nevertheless, they are a good program. They have a good coach. And just with all that, I'm just leaning with all the experience they have on this team. Now, LSU does have experience, but I'm more leaning towards Jordan Travis and the talent they have on FSU to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean,
again, that's gotta hurt, man.
I got no hate towards FSU.
Yeah, I get it. It's fine, but if you have any listeners who are Florida Gator fans,
I'm sorry, guys.
Subscribe.
Please don't hate me.
That's all I'm saying. LSU.
I'm doing it for the show.
I'll start off with LSU. This is gonna. No, it's fine. You'll redeem yourself with other picks with the Florida Gators, even though they have the statistical toughest schedule out there. It's fine. You can pick them for some wins. LSU though, they're not going to beat LSU if they play them this year. O-line, LSU was their O-line was really young last year. They retained, I think all of them. I think all of their O-line's back.
Yeah.
They're going to improve. They're going to be really good this year. They need more production from the running backs. They need their Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They need their Darius Geis. They need one of those workhorses to complement the pass game. The pass game is going to be really good.
Kayshon Boutte.
They lost Kayshon Boutte, I think his name was. But they have Malik Neighbors, very highly touted high school prospect, and then Mason Taylor.
Oh, yeah, really?
Jason Taylor's son. Miami Dolphin legend. Yeah, we can go back to the defense now. They have Mason Smith, who's back from his ACL injury that he incurred during the FSU game, celebrating a sack.
Oh,
if you remember that. He jumped up in the air and landed towards ACL. The D-line is going to be really good with Mason Smith, Mekhi Wingo, Jordan Jefferson. Very good. They got BJ Ojulari, I think is how you say it. They have Savion Jones, and then LSU's DBU, baby. They're going to be fine in the defensive secondary. Now, they lost a lot. They lost quite a bit in the secondary, but I believe with DBU, they're going to be fine. Last but not least, Harold Perkins. Look out for him. Linebacker. Very good. We got FSU now, and spoiler alert, I'm picking FSU to win this game. They got Trey Benson, Jordan Travis, Keon Coleman from Michigan State, Johnny Wilson coming back, and Jaheim Bell, tight end from South Carolina. That's their offensive productivity right there. Their O-line is fine. Now, of recent years, their O-line has been a struggle. I think this is going to be the first year their O-line is actually competent. They're not going to give up the most sacks in the ACC this year. I think they're going to be very good. I think we finally got the formula for FSU's O-line to be decent again. The run defense needs to go back to what it was before the end of last year. The Florida Gators and Oklahoma Sooners destroyed them last year in the run game. They have Jared Verse, Florida State.
Yes.
Jared Verse easily could have went to the draft and would have been a first rounder. He's back. I think Florida State's all in for a championship this year. And they're going to get close. Not quite, but maybe another playoff.
For a second when you were talking about all the defensive players in LSU. I'm like, they sound, this defense sounds nasty, man. Is he flipping right now? But nah, you guys.
Let me tell you. I love LSU. They're my second favorite team as a.
Sorry about that, guys. We had technical difficulties. But go ahead, Rhett. Finish what you were going to say, and then we're going to move on to our last game.
I was just going to say, LSU has the better team, I believe, than FSU. But as an FSU fan, I can't pick against them, especially since we have such high expectations this year. I mean, we can realistically lose this game and still make the playoff if we run the table. But I want perfection. Let's go Noles.
You guys might have to go undefeated. We'll see, though. All right. Moving on to the last game of the day. We got Clemson versus Duke. For this game...
Your audio is sketchy a bit.
All right, we'll let that part out.
Right there.
Oh. We're good?
Yes.
All right. Last game of the day. We got Clemson versus Duke. This game is all going to be relied on if Cade Klubnik meets his potential and his hype. There's a lot of hype going on with Clemson right now. The number 9 team ranked in the country. And they have a solid team, like always. And then you guys got Duke, whose offense is going to be pretty solid this year. But that won't matter because I think Clemson's going to run all over them. And going to just pass all over them as well and just destroy them. So that's my take. I got Clemson in this one.
If we were on College game day, Duke would be my super dog pick. I think they're going to lose the game, but it's going to be closer than the spread. Do you have the spread on hand?
I think it's 14. It's at 13. Clemson favored by 13.
I want to say it's going to be below 7. I think it's going to be a good game.
Below 7.
Duke has the offense to match Clemson's productivity. The fact, Clemson, we don't know much about Cade Klubnik, and that's the issue I have with them. He's basically a rookie quarterback once again. This is his first year at the throne. Is he going to meet the expectations? Personally, I think he will. It's just going to take some time. This is going to be a little bit of growing pains for him. Duke has a really good offense. Their secondaries are phenomenal. And Clemson, I don't know about their running backs. I don't think they have a phenomenal running game right now. Their passing attack, their wide receivers are always good. They've been good since they had Sammy Watkins back in 2011. So their wide receivers are going to be fine. Their O-line is an ACC O-line. It should be competent enough to hold Duke. The secondary for both teams are really good. So it's going to be which team has the better running game, I feel. Duke has a good running game. Clemson just has more talent. I'm going to go with Clemson, but I think it's a lot closer than people think.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. There you go. Credit for Duke. But, yeah, that's all the games for today. That concludes week 1. We thank you guys for watching the video. Stay tuned. We're gonna do weekly videos. Stay tuned to the channels. Please support us. Click the like button. Click subscribe to the channel. And let us know what are you guys' take down below for week 1. And with all that said and done, Rhett, you want to plug anything? Do you want to say anything? Any closing words?
Got no plugs. All appreciation for you, man. Thanks for allowing me to be on this platform. It was a blast. I look forward to the weeks in the future. Let's get it going.
Let's get it going. That's facts. All right. With that said, that's it. Peace.